Hi, so this is it. Today I'll be shooting another episode of Instreetmental, and basically, as a reminder, this is all about trying to seek for conversations with people and let them know my space is a safe space where you can just talk about anything and everything, maybe just things bothering their mind or things they've always wanted to say. Because I realize at times it feels like we are shouting in a room filled with people, but no one seems to hear us, and sometimes people don't just know there are people that want to listen to them, and this is what I've set out to do.
Testing microphone. Hello to it. Yeah.
Initially, when I got the plan, my first thought was, okay, let me just start off with strangers, you understand? And it's something I've over time realized that most people do not really have this, let me say, strength to talk about their mental health or all these stuff. And when I got this treatmental, and in fact, the main topic, the main name I actually gave this treatmental was from the word street. I was actually looking for a way to make it kind of creative, and that was when I made this whole thing from instrumental. You understand? So I just like removed the word in that instrumental to like place
This
street. Like it's
treatmental.
basically going to be on the street, and mental like pertaining to mental health particularly. And initially the whole idea I had about it right from the start was making it about strangers entirely. But then I realized even if it's going to be strangers, my friend to some point, if we really look close, like if you really look close at it, some of your friends too are really strangers to you because they are people whom over time you've been asking of how are you, how are you, how are you every time. And this question particularly has lost its importance because people don't really know the difference between how are you, like I'm just checking on you, or and how are you, like I really want to know how you are. You get it? So that was what led to me thinking about like, okay, it doesn't really have to be a stranger. Sometimes it has to be a stranger, sometimes it just
And with
could be
friends.
my friends, maybe close friends or distant friends. Do you get it? And I've realized over time when I've sat with men, like anywhere, even here and whatever, wherever I found myself, I have studied that most of these men do not, it's not like they are that strong or they are that toxic or they are that hard. Maybe they just needed somebody to be vulnerable around. Because I do tell people that most times when the kind of conversations I've had with people, like my male friends over time, though this is kind of centering around males
News.
particularly, whereas mental health is not really about males alone, it's about male and female. We are all human beings. But the main reason it is kind of going around the male alone is because I realized the females have gotten to a point where they are always so vulnerable around around
Around
themselves,
yourself,
maybe
yes.
their families and friends. They have this they always have this feeling of it doesn't really make them weak or whatever if they share their feelings or whatever. And I realized men do not really have this whole idea of sharing their feelings because they don't want to come off as being weak or as being or it's going to make them feel less of a man whenever they share their feelings. Do you get it? And something is, as I've said earlier, that I've actually noticed that most of these men, if you pay close attention to them, maybe as time goes on, you've shown to them that they could actually be somebody that they could trust and somebody that would not judge them. They are as much like vulnerable as these feelings too.
Yes.
Because the kind of conversations I've had with them in the past, and I would not be like, these people are not really toxic, and their toxicity is not something natural, and it is I feel it is something they've grown to learn over
Over
time, like
times.
something they've grown to learn, and it's not like that is who they really are. Because with my friends and people that are closer to me or even distant friends, and over time they've expressed their vulnerability around me, whatever that is bothering their minds, whatever. And these are things I am so sure they would not share with other other male friends, yes, outside, things they could not share with other people. But because they've realized I am not the type that will judge them or that would castigate them for whatever this thing. So they are always vulnerable. So before I let me say ask questions like if you could rate your mental health from 1 to 10 at a particular moment, how would you rate it? Let me go first because me particularly, a lot has been going on with me.
Okay.
Like a lot has been going on, and I realized it has gotten to the point where being vulnerable around people has actually just been the one of my main escape. Because right now, if I'm asked to rate my mental health from 1 to 10,
Alright.
I think I would still say I'm around that 7. If you ask me why it is not 10, I would say lately, okay, I think before I began my own NYC journey, having to wait for almost 1.5 year at home before I got um what do we even call it, shortlisted, or is it shortlisted before my name got approved on the senate list or whatever. The whole journey was stressful. Like then I was working with one brand and they were literally draining me. I mean draining because before I began working with them, I the whole idea that I had about that work was basically okay. Let me start doing what I love doing, what I enjoy doing, and what I feel comfortable doing. You get it, and make money while at it. So then I was so much interested in event decoration that initially I didn't really care about the money. It was all about passion for me. Like okay, I think I enjoy working on events and stuff like this. So when I began working with the brand, I it was I think I didn't really get the idea that the man was only trying to use me.
Okay.
Yes. I was just like then I was still at school. I was always going on weekends. We go to work on weekends, we come back weekdays, I go to class and stuff like that. But it got to a point and I think I worked with the brand for I think that's 2 years. Let me say 2 years over. It should be around that range. Just a little over 2 years. So the work drained me mentally. That particular moment when I was still working with them, I had serious call anxiety. I wouldn't even want people. I know people outside will think I I have my life figured out. Like I have things working
No
for
problem.
me. Like because then to some point I could still afford some little things. I could still afford to take myself out. I could still afford to like go to places I want to visit. Do you get it? But deep inside, I knew that was not the kind of life I wanted to live because it's. I realized I was only living my life for that particular brand. I wasn't even living my life for myself. I had like I mean serious call anxiety. I wouldn't want my phone to ring. And I think it was since then that I mastered this act of putting my phone on do not on silence
No silence.
every time because I could I my ulcer was still like healing then and even at that I would always go for hours without eating while working on events, while stressing my life out, trying to make the whole thing work. I didn't even have any choice. The couple were going to come to reception around 11 o'clock in the morning. So we dare not finish the
Finish
work
the work.
before that time. So I was always like just trying to make things work. And I am not the type that do believe in Yoruba will say Ogata Ogauta.
Wàhálà ló wà pé.
I didn't really believe in that. Anywhere I find myself, I would always want to just take this whole thing up as if it was mine. You get it? I was always just stressing myself out, like working night and day. I would go for days without sleeping. I could go for hours without eating. And everything that mattered to me then was okay, let's just have a successful event. And I realized after this whole thing, I still have nothing to show for it. I could go for weeks working, traveling from Osogbo, traveling across the state. And at the end of it, after the mega payment I get, the only thing I do get in addition was let's be open for a better job. That's always
As
the
always.
premium payment I was having then. Let's be looking for a better job. I could go for weeks. And at the end of it, if I still need to do something maybe tangible financially, I still had to depend on my friends.
So
The very first phone I was using got stolen. Okay, I think along the line I got a new one. The new one I got damaged while I was trying to deliver for one event. I was like I was climbing one tall ladder like that. So the phone split from my pocket and the phone fell. so the phone broke. The following week after that, I was still trying to make one event successful. That was when the phone eventually got stolen and things like that. So during those period while waiting for this NYC journey, it was really, really terrible for me. Like I was not okay mentally, even not for my friend then. They actually just said that okay, he was going to be there for me. You need to stop this particular job that you are doing. So I quit. And it was going to it was I the plan like I knew stopping it was going to be kind of terrible because I had no source of income. But then I just needed to stop because I realized there was no point moving
Oh
forward
God.
in that particular establishment. So I just quit and I was always at home with my friend, like we're just eating. And this whole NIC of the journey began. And even while I was posted to police state, when I went there and my relocation did not work, I was really, really I was so sad
So
because
sad.
I didn't know
Broke
what to
down.
expect. I knew
Okay.
nobody over there. None of my friends were there. I had no one over there. I didn't know what to expect and I was really, really sad. But then over time things changed. Like I made a decision that I was going to make everything so enjoyable for myself. And I realized it has been like working for me ever since because I noticed most of my friends would even always come to my DM and tell me, Aki, you're the one enjoying even most of my friends that wanted to relocate that it worked for them.
Okay.
Probably they've gone back to this their state of choice. And me that stayed back, they will always tell me like, Aki, you're the one enjoying this NYC most because they would always find me doing this, doing that here and there, and I'm always documenting my journey and stuff like that. And that actually helped me because I began to make this whole thing enjoyable for myself. So it helped, like it's actually helping me. I'm not really having this sad moments most of the time. And ever since I came back to Oyo State for this vacation, I've been like having a lot of fun with my friends. I mean a lot of fun that I would laugh, 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 laugh till my stomach aches, till my rib cracks. Like I would laugh till I just forget my sorrows. So rating my mental health at particular moment from between 1 to 10, I would say 7. Maybe the reason I wouldn't say 10 is because I am not where I want to be mentally, and maybe in my life generally, I am not where I want to be. But then I still feel 7 is still it's well above average and it's still nice.
Okay. So for me, you can say let's say 8
Okay. 8 is still cool. I think
because at least one thing about me is this: no matter what, I always try to move forward.
okay.
So let's say my journey so far, let's say since 2017 after my ND, it's very much hectic because I have to survive. One,
Sure.
because it was around that time I can say my family go bankrupt, so nothing to show for, and not even presently I can say at home my father will not be able to afford a pure water
Hmm.
presently. But one thing about me is I shall know I must survive. So I
Sure.
kept on moving forward. So and I always one thing I love academics a lot. I always try to okay, let me have at least I know Nigeria is not what all this education is
Sure.
not what.
Sure.
But for me I love it naturally. So I always try. 2018, I think I moved to Sangota. It's my uncle
Okay.
then. It was cool.
Ogun State.
It was cool at least I met a lot of people then. Even where I was working, I was like people always give me some regard because one thing about me, I don't not do things because let's just do it now. No, me, I want perfection. I
Perfect.
want this thing is supposed to be here. Let's arrange not let's just jump it there. My share and lolly now. Okay, Nico. So that makes my boss then. He's late now. He's an Indian man. He's late now. Loves me very much then. So I was like number two to the boss. So along the line, all these local water boys, they were like, "Oh, you, Kineko, you." They were trying to, manipulate a lot of things. But me, I always, this is not where am I supposed to be. So now imagine now, and maybe I stole from the company lock it up 2 years. That 2 years will never be recovered. So along the line, I have some kind of issue with the boys. I survived. I move on again. There was a lot of all this infraternity, sha. I
Okay.
survived then. I move on. After 2 years,
Wow. Like you
after
guys were working together
yes, and they were
and you guys are still living in the same community
ah,
and they were disturbing you.
very much. There was the day they came over to the company gate. Just walk
Wow.
past them like, Oga, what's where you go? Be me, I'm an Ibadan boy now. What's today? So along the line, I wasn't feeling anymore again after my boss dead. I wasn't feeling money. I want more for myself. So I've always had interest in, at least if academic cannot work, let me try something very handy.
Sure.
So after 2 years, I moved to Lekki. I moved Sangota. I moved from Sangota to Lekki.
Okay.
Along the line, I think the first 3 months was school. So I moved in October. So the first 3 months December was school. I was so in that place. The way I expressed myself was even the way others express themselves.
Okay.
So I was like, my own thing was always different. I won't think the way you think.
Okay, were you living with somebody?
We are living inside, all the shanties there.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, my own thing is always different. So all these organs inside the compound always respect me. They were like,
Were you guys working there?
I know it was like place we sleep, sha. No lucky you go to workplace, come back to sing
Okay,
at the shanties.
okay.
So all these boys, all these old man,
That's like a place where you all just come
they
at night
just
to crash and
crash and
nobody business in the morning.
sometimes if you don't have anything to do, you sleep, you slept.
Okay.
So all those boss inside then was they always feel me. They always feel like, oh, Habeeb come, where text message. Habeeb come, my Facebook is hanging. So people always like, so that's calling me Aka then. They said I know a lot. Because one thing about me is this. If I pass through this place
Okay.
and I saw Lekki Coliseum, I wanted to know why is it Lekki Coliseum? Who owns
This
that place?
particular
So I have a lot of
so inquisitive.
information there. So they always like, Owo Iyaka ni na alakọ̀wé ṣá kìíní kan. They always like that. But not the line, it was really cool. The first 3 months was cool because you can say, Okole Kosibe. Me, I don't go there already. No person will get the house. There was a time banking W from my house.
Okay.
I was like, this is not for. They said no. I just want to only movies. Whenever I say this house, this Messi AK, this big banana, I know our office then. Like this office belongs to Messi AK. They always surprised like, how do you know this thing?
Mhm.
So the first 3 months was good. After then January, a lot of things happened. The family was not that stable anymore. So then I was losing attention there. I wasn't paying so much attention
To your life.
to my learning. My mind was always at home then. It was that time my mom glaucoma issue started. So my mom, so I off it till December. That was
From
January. I kept on struggling. At least I'm so mad.
that's quite long.
So I moved into December. To December, we came to Ibadan December. We work at Apete. At Ajakpete. We did one project at Apete then. So I went home. I told my dad, I'm not really myself anymore. I can't be watching you guys too
Struggle this.
struggle this way. At least the man cannot afford anything. My sister too was not then. So that was January 2020. So that last year, January last year. So I quit. After then,
Like you moved back
back
from
from Lagos to Ibadan.
Okay.
So after then, I said, a friend of mine, we both didn't day in Yoruba. So I was like, oh, come to Satek now. So Satek, I went there. The first week was very hard for me because I have no transport money.
Hmm.
So
So it's as
from
bad as not having transport
transport
money
money.
from
So I went after bus.
where were you living?
I'm local,
I'm look. Where is that takes safe?
literally. So I will enter staff bus from Satek to Mobi.
Okay.
From Mobi, I will check to Okado. From Okado, I will enter 100 naira to Bere. Bere, I will Ojaba. Ojaba, I will check to Bere. So I was that first week was. So my mom has let's say a cousin to my mother,
Okay.
but they all grew up together. So that was what was working there. My mom called her one day, call him one day, when are you like make up? So the first day I went to meet him at Yoko. I didn't feel it like it was as if I was forcing myself on the man.
Yes, I can imagine how
So,
those distance.
I feel very, very awkward. So I told my mom, tomorrow morning I'm not following him. So for over a week, I off it. The following week, I couldn't go anymore.
Because of the transport.
Transport. I couldn't go anymore. So my cousin came home from Ife. So he gave me money then. So I was like,
Like,
what
to
next?
at least survive for
At least 5K. I said, what next? So I think so I left. Okay, no, he didn't came home. Satek pay that my 1 week salary.
Are they paying for weekly?
No, they are paying monthly.
Okay.
But it is 1,004
1,400 naira per day.
per day. So they calculated at the end of the month, that was January ending, they pay me my money. So I have something to change on me. So after then I moved to so I was like, what next? I was chatting with my former boss, my first supervisor at Sangota then because after my boss dead, That was one guy they brought in. The guy loved me a lot. Like
Okay.
we fought the fight together. Then
Okay, the guy was there before you left.
yes, so I called him. Was like, Habeeb, I miss you. Come over. The company like HR, everything was talking about you. Come
What are
over.
they doing in that song
Plastic,
water? Plastic.
plastic.
Okay.
All these pelts like this,
Okay.
and not pharmaceutical bottles. So
Okay.
come over. So I went there. The first day, you know, the whole setting of my uncle place. I'm not getting it anymore. Like, so I'm not back to this place. I was sad that first day.
Okay. You were actually living with your
My
uncle at
uncle then,
Songwater then while you were working at
so the whole vibe was not there
you felt like
anymore.
you had left
You know,
this
after like
place. That should be your past. Are you
after
not
like
coming
maybe
back?
18 months, I just called my cousin. We are really close actually, but due to family issue then, so they were like was a very stubborn guy. So they were like, he's always the one teaching me about this. So I tried to separate myself from him.
Okay.
So I just messaged him like, Egmo, a day Lagos. So the guy called me before as they were like, why would you go into Songota? Songota for what? The guy was like yapping me. I was like, Egmo, I saw you work at Sategbo. No place. But like, what about my place in Kuala? My place is like my place now. So I
Where
was
is
like,
Kola?
Kuala.
Kola in Ibadan. Okay, okay,
So
okay,
I
okay.
was like, my place is your place now. So I moved back to Ibadan.
From
From
Songwater. Okay, you
Songota.
didn't even work at Songwater
I
again for
think
the second
the
time.
following day,
Okay.
I came back to Ibadan. So the guy said, what's next? So I tried Yali. Yali does not work. Although that Yali she's not, I don't think I can cope with Yali. So I went back to that guy that employed us with one outsourcing company.
As,
Outsourcing company, all these outsourcing company, I employ
okay,
people. So
outsourcing. Okay,
I went
okay.
back to him like, Aga, I did a week. The guy was like, no, in your kingdom, he's not. So the first week, guy sent me away. So I was at home for under 2 weeks
In Ibadan,
in
yeah.
Ibadan at my cousin place because most of my family to date, most of my family don't know that I'm staying with him
Okay.
to date.
Why? They did not really like him.
Now the guy was really tough. His own way was very different from the family. The
Okay.
family
You feel
was
it's a kind of really bad company that.
over seriousness lives in our family. That was
Okay. No, I wouldn't really say it's over seriousness. Everybody are always protective of their
so
children.
so they always feel he's always like big boys now. Let's
Street
charge street the
oriented.
hair. So then they don't like the guy very much too. I stay at home for 2 weeks. So I got employed at Yale on a Thursday afternoon. At
Okay.
afternoons. They said we are going to afternoon shift. As we enter, that place was like prison.
Um,
I couldn't breathe. They now said we
what
should
were
went
they?
back
What are they producing?
biscuit.
Biscuit.
They
Okay.
now said we should went back home. That we should resume the following week to night shift. That you are now running a production line or something. It was and on Friday, that was Thursday. On Friday, my friend called me like, "Bobo, you come out on Monday." I was like, ah.
Okay, you
So
were asked to leave that particular
that
Thursday that
day,
you resumed
they said we should be back
on
on Monday
for
night.
permanent
Yeah,
night.
man. So like, that's like guy like, I'm gonna go resume Monday for Satek. I was deliberating like,
Okay, your friend is I think
yeah.
that you had gone to meet initially was now calling
So I
you
was like,
back, and you had joined Yali now.
Yale, I don't go back to Satek. And since then, like I said,
How much are they planning to pay you at Yali there?
I think 1,005.
Hey, for 12
So,
hours
but
shift.
no, 8 hours. It varies. If you're on morning shift, you're going to do 8. Afternoon, you're going to do 6. Night, you're going to do 8. So it was really. So I remember Satek. So the unit they put me this man, I was there on the unit I was before.
Okay, why you
So
work with
that
them
for
now?
my first unit was like a military barrack. Everything was just nobody was laughing with anybody. Everything was just sad.
So it's not work.
But this my new unit. Play, everybody would just play. We play football. Play. I was like, I started feeling the vibe. So all those stress was reducing.
Okay.
Even my off day, I had to be at work
Work rather than stay back at home.
because I know you'll be at work. You will not laugh because at least you will see somebody who will fight. Like you guys who yab each other. You guys who say I have a guy now. The guy is not serving him. Okay, he's already on the service. So they were friends. One was serving was presently in I think Plateau. I don't know what the state. Second one was in UI.
Okay.
That one was doing UI school all the stuff
Okay,
there.
schooling.
So it was when they asked to strike. So I had the chance of
Working.
it was very lively, like we just come in the morning, came in the morning, just like we see Jagu, I know here, can you come? I said, we okay, but you know it afternoon like this. You guys football, play. So I was like, the stress will now reducing. So it was along the line. I got an that guy, that UI guy inspired me like, yeah, you two can go back to school. I was like,
Okay,
but
because it was
it was
you
in
saw he
UI.
was combining academics
Like,
with your like trying to
you two can do this.
focus.
You two can do it. So that was last year. I couldn't get back last year.
Okay,
So I was saving money. Pa, 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 pa.
at least
Then January came.
2023.
2020 came.
Okay,
January was cool.
okay,
The February
cool too.
is not cool.
Okay,
That time, my mom glaucoma was out of hand. That time,
so,
the blindness is no more reversible anymore.
so
So we have to do operation.
hmm,
We have money, money no day. So me and my so the family shall go farm the first operation they paid. At least I was able to support us. So although not at least says they were able to get up 70%, 40%. Me and my sister get up 70, 60%. So that one was January.
separate.
They
Okay,
said they must do another one March.
wow,
That one you couldn't call anybody again, like need money for operation.
operation.
And remember, my immediate my younger brother, our fourth born, was in Ife
Oh,
studying law.
hmm,
So it was quite very ambitious. I don't want him to feel down. So
okay,
I was like, don't worry, we'll survive. So then, sha, my brother's school fees, we paid for it
hmm,
again. He took another loan.
hmm,
My mom operation, that was 120,000 then
hmm.
from Senate Bank. So one of my uncle helped us, paid the operation. So the loan was very much for us. It was only just
Okay,
me and my sister.
hmm.
So
Is she working too?
yeah, she's working with NDLA.
Okay,
But just all these normal you could not.
okay.
Uh-huh. So it was really then it was really tough. But all this why I don't think I talked to anybody about the whole journey. Like I said the first time I'll be I think after you have nobody have ever
Talked
about it.
about taking the loans, trying to
My
keep your
mom
brother in
operation, my
school, trying to get your this
I'm
one.
just always myself. Because I know just every day I was like, don't worry, Habeeb will survive. Habeeb will try to move on. I can tell that's why I said my mental health level will be like 8. And along the line, I think we paid the loan finish around March, June.
Hmm.
So it
Okay, were
was
you paying instrumentally like every
yes, every
month?
month. So around August, I will apply for Polybaton, right?
How are you now like getting the money to pay every
I
month?
don't know. I'm just surviving.
Since work, 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 and work.
It's not even about work. Like I don't,
Never
I
getting
myself can't even explain. And I don't have any other job other than
the
myself.
tech.
I'm just surviving. So whenever okay now I think I'm not when my brother is on back November this year, he took another loan again. We're still paying down presently.
Hmm.
So but whenever maybe my dad saw me, they was like you don't even bother about it. I was like, one thing about me is this: anything that happens, you must have a solution first. You must try to find a solution for yourself first.
Sure.
Okay, you can't expect me to now. Okay, they said they want to do my mom operation. Say I will now went to one okay now to go and be saying, Oluwa, give me money. No, you have to work for
Sure.
the money. So that's why I say to me, 8, and I always try to
Like
move on. And one thing I also mean is that I always afford to be lonely. Like today now,
okay,
you
you
can
avoid
see
being
today now I'm ill. So I just like I can't stay inside this house. This side is really hot. Before you know, person will just be overthinking now.
sure.
So me, so my friend always said I'm not always SAT okay, do I'm always on the road. I know before I move from here to here.
Because you're always intentional about keeping yourself in check.
So before I move from here to here now, I've seen sometimes maybe someone you're
Something to
fighting.
think about, something to talk about, something
I
to
just
laugh
no
at.
to laugh at. Sometimes if I will enter my room, I will be joking. So before you know it now, all those things keep me moving. Because to me, no matter what, you have to survive. You have to move on. So I can say my mental health level was 8. And here I am today. I'm doing my HND.
Because
And doing,
I cannot even imagine how tough that must have been, like having to keep taking loans, having to keep keeping.
it was really tough. But for me, it's waiting go be go be. It may not be this one. Maybe at least I'm not grateful like it's not even more than that. Or there was something very more complex than this.
Yeah.
Okay, let me tell you, around April, my immediate younger brother Gogo tried to he said he want to return back to school on his own, he wants to sponsor himself. He was working with all these forestry before, so
Okay, is it
he
that
was
one is older than the one studying law
if
at you? Okay.
so he went back to Free where he did his ND.
Yeah.
Friend, further College of Forestry, Jericho,
Okay,
where he did
okay.
his ND. So he was there for like a month. Then I think the
Like
second
he was
month,
going back for his HND.
it was just like a month. Second month. What's I need have to know? I was at work. I was playing with my guys. Normal. I was at Yab. Yeah. When they called me, like the guy came back home and it wasn't himself anymore. Ha.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So I left work that day. I went home. At first, I was like, "What this thing again?"
I think you're actually talking about your brother coming back from Federal College of Forestry back to this that he could not cope with school again and stuff like that.
So okay, I know what you're saying. My turn. Mami, you know, go buy your food. My way, you must. So actually, he came back home because he couldn't cope. So his mental health was at stake then. So he was thinking about financial stuff to continue, and was thinking about home also, how things
Okay.
was at home. So he turned back and he started behaving. We cannot say normal, sha. We cannot say abnormal. Let's say average. But
Okay.
he's not the person that he used to be. So
Okay.
sometimes he would just wake up and say he's going back to school. So after the family allow him to, know what, because he will always be shouting, don't want noise. So they will send him back to school. So after then, they will still come from the school again. I was still in there, persuade him to
Stay.
stay. So until one day, he now went back
Okay.
that day. So I went there to see him, to saw him. So I was like, okay, maybe I should leave him. So I left him that day. So the following day, my dad called me like he called, and he said he'd come and meet him at one air center.
Inside the school.
No, outside.
Outside.
Abemu.
Okay. Okay.
So what actually happened is this: he went to academics department to go and collect his biodata.
Okay.
So he was being told to came back the second day. I think the people there, I think they knew him before, so they
Okay.
saw him. So they was like, this guy is not, no, he's not feeling fine. Like, so they now try to cajole him, like, hey, come back. The person is not around. So
Okay.
later, that was in the morning. He said he went back again in the afternoon. So he now said, is it not the person that want to give me this thing? Like, he now told him, you know what? We cannot deceive you. Go back and go and treat yourself at home. So that's why he left very early the following morning. So he stayed to school overnight, left the following morning. And so the man at the center was giving some malaria. They thought it was malaria, kiniko, akoba, akobuna, all those stuff, the stuff. So it was after then, left him. So till during the last Eid Kebbi.
Okay.
So he was still in that condition that this Eid Kebbi was. I was home. Because I was home, I was able to, essentially come and see me, Mama Dukinika. So me, I was able to overpower him. So that
Okay.
was how he was able to cope then.
Was he
So
like was he also aware that you guys were taking out some loans to help the
he was
family?
aware, but due to his, we are like he's too small, so we
Okay.
don't want to put more stress on him. So
Okay. He was not involved in the
in the
repayment
payment, but
plan,
he knew
whatever.
that
But he
we,
knew that you guys were like actually
so
taking loans or
and that
whatever.
was it. So after then, I think I was able to realize the problem somehow. I can't look for solution for it.
Okay.
So the solution is we were able to keep him away for some things. Although it was very hard for them, because I was my mom, my mom was there at home.
Okay.
So my dad, so for them to be able to, they were not able to undo him. But for
Sure.
someone like me, so we shall thank God, today he's not doing more better. But there's no chance of him reporting back to school anytime soon.
And is he now working like
He's now working
to support
to
himself?
support himself on the go. So um I think after then he's senior president called me that they want to they knew him before. They want him to come and defer his admission.
Okay, so you will
So
not just lose it
so
like
I
that.
I try my possible best to try to let it work, but it doesn't work because the guy is not always around. Senior president not always around. He's always up on doing our time. We went for NAS convention, all those stuff. It wasn't, and it
Okay.
was like I don't want to go into politics more because it was very close to Southwest NAS coordinator
President.
because they
Okay.
were from same school. So
Okay.
his Southwest coordinator office was in their school, so it was very
Okay.
busy. All
Okay.
through. So till they sign out, they
Okay.
just signed out a week ago.
It could
But
not go.
I just to me, I don't because if actually delivered dimension, what if he was able to return next section? So I was just like, oh, let everything go. I know at times go on because one thing you can't keep away from family is this education. We love it,
Sure.
we love it. I know he's going to try to find his way back So and that was it.
But it could have been, I think it could have been better if you guys had gone for the farming, like to defy his admission. Or is there no sign of him getting better anytime soon?
He's already better, but who's going to fund him? The first question.
That's the issue.
So
And
and
another thing is,
what thing that triggered that what happened to him that the other time was because of he wasn't able to get funding. So it was
yes,
sad like
if he had probably gotten maybe
uh,
to see a therapist or something like that, that would help him for a very long
so that
time.
was that we said okay, let's keep him. But I know what as time goes on, you'll be able to return back to school. I know that very much for sure. So
Well, like looking back at the journey, maybe from you going from Ibadan to Songota to Lekki, back to Ibadan, back to Songota, back to Ibadan again. Omo, it's been a very, very long journey, and I can't even start imagining how.
the thing is as a man, you have to keep pushing on.
Sure, sure,
One thing
sure.
is this. Assuming it was a fear, the opposite danger. There
Okay.
is probability that you're going to find an epic. But man,
Yes,
you are
maybe
going to
maybe
face
women are kind of lucky
but
when it.
man, you are going to face your consequence. You have to carry your load by yourself. Like I
Sure.
said earlier, I don't know if you want to capture there. That my a problem shared is not a problem. So a problem
Eh,
shared is still your
it's
problem.
still your problem.
You just choose to distribute your because the only thing secret is the one within you. Once you
Sure.
told somebody that no one secret again. Forget to because when you they be like I'm not suffering your mug, I'm suffering you, but I'm suffering you. But you know it. So I was unable to speak to people then, but at least I'm fine. Even though I'm still here to be
Like you're
there
still not where you want to be.
because presently for me, sef, it's even hard for me. In a month, I sleep at home twice.
Like right now.
In a month,
Okay,
I sleep
because of your
at
work,
work. I would imagine staying awake all night. Then
having to cope with classes
class
and everything,
and
having to
everything.
think about whatever that is happening around
So now
your
imagine
mom's
even that one
condition.
alone, that work alone is like it's stressful. But you know, when you haven't find you will said think about it, what you might take that.
Èèyàn kì í béèrè kú tó padà
When you
dènà.
haven't said another time, you have to keep moving on. The one you have, just manage it. Although I know someday
Sure, things will be
everything is
fine.
going to
Oh,
be
I think another thing I'm quite glad about is how you guys are trying to maybe keep things away from that your younger brother studying at Share, because I can't even imagine how if he's the kind of child that pay attention to like most things, knowing about his mom's condition, knowing about his dad's condition, knowing about his elder brother, knowing about almost everything, even if he is getting the funding somewhere else, like he wouldn't be able to mentally cope.
although when he came home from holiday last time, he was able to aware
He saw how things were at home.
so he tried some possible best too. I can say he tried. I said it in his own way.
Really, to support the
Support
family.
the family. But not financially, no.
Okay.
Like let's say morally and he was able to keep them awake. Like no, he was able to let's say man up a little bit.
Yes,
Everyone
yes.
just
And one thing I to wrap things up, one thing I've actually just realized from this whole thing is, which I will still encourage, is after everything, I noticed at some point you felt there was no point in sharing whatever that
yes.
is going on around you, because you are just, you feel a problem shared is still your problem, and you feel people would only, it's just like broadcasting. But me personally, I will still feel no matter how small or how big it is, there is still nothing too big to share, or nothing, there is nothing too small to share. However way it is, sharing with people would always like bring more.
But the thing is, right from I've always been a loner. So I've always been an introvert, a loner. So that's like I said, let's say started interacting with people not too long. Right from my second, the way we have been brought up.
Sure.
I don't do this, don't do that. I know our parents forget once we grow up. You'll have to look for help. But someone that you are not in a talking time with that person. I know we are going to approach
Share.
him for help.
Okay.
So
Yes, I
our
think
parents are
that.
always like when we are young, don't do this. We are no then. We have like mingle with a lot of people.
Yes,
So
you are right. Like it's at times it's always so hard getting to
getting
share your problems with people you are not even familiar with. But I
that's
think to
it.
some point too, so I realize some people will be much more comfortable. That is why you see people getting themselves involved in all this anonymous, whatever. Like some people find it more comfortable sharing their problems with people that did not know them
Yes.
from Adam, because they will feel like you didn't really actually know me from anywhere, and even after this particular moment, it's not like we actually have any
Anything.
place, anything to do together. So just for that moment, getting to interact, like just sharing one's problem, sharing one art, will just be like avenue to just say your mind out. It might not really solve the problem at a particular moment. The person might not even provide the necessary solutions. Let me say maybe the money is a financial problem or whatever. The person might not be in the best position to actually provide solution to such thing, but just sharing it is always like a way forward. It's going to reduce the stress of you having to keep everything to yourself, and it keeps weighing you down. Because I said something earlier that who no, like your brother, why those things kept happening might if he had shared with somebody maybe closer to him or whatever, that thing might really not have gotten so much to his heart, to
Is
the
that
point
yes.
where the thing started affecting him mentally, and he started, like, I won't want to use the word misbehave, like started acting weirdly around people. But to cap it all, I think one thing that would really really help is, because this mental health of a thing, whether we like it or not, it is always there. And I realize, because our parents, or let me say our grandparents, or let me say the past generations, did not pay attention to it. They felt it wasn't there, whereas it was there.
Yes.
And Habib, you've been a fighter. You've been so brave and courageous throughout the year and the year before, and I'm so glad and I'm so happy you could do all that for yourself, for your siblings, and for your families. I really love you, and I really want to see you in greater places.